Over the past year, we've been following the Poudre School District's plans to consolidate and close schools, but those plans were brought to a screeching halt in May after a massive community pushback to seeing those schools shut down.
And so now the board is asking parents if they'd be willing to weigh in on a possible tax increase that would pay to improve and keep those schools open, the schools that the parents had fought so hard for. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause has all the details.
After months of protesting and pushback, Poudre Schools has put the brakes on plans to close and consolidate schools.
We heard from our constituents that they really wanted to try and keep small schools as much as we are able to.
But Board of Education President Kristen Draper says the district's budget shortfalls aren't going away. So to keep schools open the community fought so hard to save, they're asking the community to weigh in on a possible mill levy that would raise property taxes to cover that cost.
Yes, it is really needed. Since we've avoided that, we've been supplementing the schools for quite some time, and so we'll need to continue to do that without the consolidations.
The district needs about $750 million just to keep buildings up to date.
We'll just have to see how it all shakes out.
Parents like Kristen Heineman, whose kids attend Lopez Elementary, says raising property taxes might not be a super popular idea with the entire community, but it's an idea she's behind.
For me, the alternative is shutting schools down, which I don't think is necessarily a good idea. And so for me, I'm happy to pay a little bit of extra so that my kids can have a good school.
Under the proposed mill levy, Poudre would raise property taxes about $25 a year per every $100,000 in home value.
What we're asking for hopefully isn't too much for families. If you're thinking about a $500,000 house, it's an extra $125 a year.
Draper says if the community can't get behind this funding solution, closure talks might return. Heineman hopes it doesn't need to come to that.
And hopefully we put our money where our mouth is in November, because I don't want to go back to where we were earlier this year.
Now, in just the first few weeks, Poudre Schools says they've gotten about 3,000 survey results back from the community, with many people coming out to support the plan. Now, there's still time to fill out that survey, but you have about a month or so to give the board any feedback on their plan. They expect to vote on that plan in August on whether or not to move forward with that mill levy. If the board approves it, that would then go to voters on the ballot in November. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
And then those parents might be back asking their neighbors who don't have kids that age to make sure they support the plan. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Rachel.